Hello!
Slowly but surely, I'm getting through all these. Don't you worry.
Hello!
Oh, hey there, Oleanderin! Welcome, welcome! Big wolf hugs, thank you! Big zebra hugs. Yo! Hello there! What is it? Shuto Kosoko Toriel? I probably said that absolutely terribly. I am so sorry. I am not the best. I'm gonna be real with you. I am not the best at the what's mostly. Also, ignore the crap there. Shoto Kusoko trial. Shuto? Because it's not Shoto. That's not an O. That's a U there. Shuto. Shuto Kosoku trial. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly. Shuto? Can I just go with? Can I go with Shuto for short? Also, hopefully, I'm staring straight when I look this way. So yeah, because chat is like over there for me. Of course. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Anyway, hi everyone, welcome to Wukong. It's a Wednesday night. I know it's the middle of the week, but don't you worry. It's the middle of the week. We're halfway there. Lord knows that no, it's a dragon. Okay, why was there no like death thingy-madiggies? There should have been a... Why was there no death trigger? Hello, StreamerBot. Action cues. History. The Vignon WebSocket. Camera reverse. Alright, cool. So it got the camera reverse action. It got the ragdoll action. Copy. So the Vignon WebSocket. Like, why is it... Some days I need... Like, there needs to be like a better Vignon WebSocket like execution code thingy-majiggy. So, reset macro... Run action, you died. So it should have... It should have, like, run. There's, like, no triggers. Hang on. Alright, so that one's fine. That one's fine. Yep, that one's fine. Yeah, okay, all 4 of them are fine. Okay, I don't get what's up with that. Maybe I just need to make it so that... I don't know, I'll need to revisit WebSocket, like, messages and what have you, like, later on. Because, you know, it sends the message, but it's always the same message. I want to have it where it's like, I want it to be able to receive WebSocket messages. Don't know why that happened a second time. Weird. Oh, maybe it's because... No, it shouldn't... Now this is getting my brain, like, this is really rustling my brain. So, because it's in the default queue. Uh-oh. 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 No, it's not supposed to do that. Full screen effects. You died. Properties. It should not be looping. Why is it looping? Why are you... Please stop. Okay. Okay. No, God! Oh my... Alright. That's... Why? Why does it have to be like that? Like... It sets the source. Hi there, little Incineroar. Welcome to the stream. So... Full screen... So, connection default, full screen effect, you died. Okay, I need to talk about the shirt thingy-madiggy, okay? This is very important. I need to talk about the shirt thingy-madiggy because I have gone and alright, so you know what? I'm gonna go through this one at a time. So I'm gonna go okay here. Okay there. So there's something I need to talk about that's like really important. There is someone from my work who's gonna know about this stream. I've set up like a message so it gets sent to them like later on in the evening and what have you. They will know. Also, why is my... Should be a like, why is it a use hardware decoding, show nothing when playback ends? Yeah, that's what I want to show. Hi there, Code. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, I'll mention this. Sorry, I'll just mention it again and what have you. So why isn't it a local? Yeah, it's a local file. Local file doesn't loop. Show nothing when it ends. Normal speed. I'm just gonna... Why is it...
Nani?
There we go. All right. What did I break? No, I just so I temporarily broke the death thing, but it's fine now. It's working again. It's working again. All right. So there's going to be a buddy from work. They're gonna know about this stream in like 30 minutes. I do not know how chill they're going to be. Because, like, it all started because of a conversation about Black Myth Wukong and about, like, how all the characters are, like, you know, because they're all furries and such. Because it was like he read an article and they were like, oh, it has an inclusivity issue. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's filled with so many fucking furries. Everyone get... No! No! Do not! This is a buddy... This I don't know if the person from work is ever going to see the stream or if he's ever going to say anything or anything like that. But if they see this, you don't know how tempting it is to, like, disable the stealing shirt thingy-majiggies, okay? You don't know how tempting it is. So, yeah, so get your, like, thingy-majiggies out of the way. Oh, so, back to play. There we go. Hopefully the WebSocket thing isn't broken. So yeah, so I do not want to see any of you, like, when it gets to like 6:30 till 7 or 8 o'clock, I don't want any horny shit. You do not steal my shirt. You do not move my ass. Just move to your PNG if you're worried. I could also just disable the commands. I'm not, like, hugely worried. I just hope that there's going to be some level of restraint with these, there's going to be some level of restraint. I'm talking to you, little Incineroar. So, yeah. Hello there, Jason. Welcome to the stream. Alright, I can make all kinds of... Alright, so that does the critical hit chance. This does the increasing of damage. Amplification pills. Ginseng increases, it does the focus thing for a whiles. Miasma. Evil repelling. I need more licorice. A lot more licorice. Alrighty. But yeah. So, so yeah, the reason why this one person from work is gonna learn about this, stream and what have you is that I'll need to find, like, one of the furry characters in this game and what have you. It will most likely come up because of, like, a boss or something, more likely, and then it's just going to be a case of, like, worst case scenario, I go to the crazy fox, person over in the cellar underneath the Crouching Tiger temple, or I go to the Monkee. Either way, it's all just to, like, sort of explain things. My hands are sore from doing a render. Oh, no! Wait, a render? Like a 3D render? Is that it? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, hey, another, Oh, yeah, tree pearls don't... Like, they're used in an ingredient. They're not explicitly... Oh, you are a real person. There we go. So yeah, how's the monkeying around? It is going, Jonathanville. I don't know why, I'm just having such a hard time with names. But do not worry. But yeah, it's going fairly well. So, besides the fact that I have... Because, like, I'm gonna be real. I don't normally tell too many people IRL what my name is on Twitch and what have you, because if I show them my Twitch on IRL, I have to start explaining this. And if you've seen me IRL, it doesn't look like this. If you know me from IRL, nothing about me is this. So, it's gonna raise... I kind of worry it's going to raise way more questions once they know about this, because it's going to be things like, he's like, so you fuck animals or something? Like, that's my worst case scenario. My worst case scenario is my work buddy sees this, looks at me, thinks about, like, introverted me at work, and is just like, you fuck animals? I don't want that. Also, just to clarify, I do not fuck animals. I hate that the worst case scenario so much. Here's the thing. Like, there is so many worst case scenarios I can think of. I can think of ew. I can think of them revealing my name online. I can think of them talking to people at work, despite the fact I asked them not to do that. It's one of these cases of, like, you know, privacy. It's similar to how you want to look, possibly. It is similar, and I do try and, you know, adjust my weights and what have you, but yeah. Oh, also, chat. Check out my throne. I was able to find... So, turns out, I don't know why this is a thing, but apparently, like, PlayStation 5 games are cheaper... Like, some PlayStation 5 games are cheaper on disc than they are on the digital storefront, which does not make sense to me. Like, why? The video game on disc, you make it sound like I have to pay a premium to get the disc drive. So why is it that the disc is cheaper? Because with the digital, you're not supposed to be worrying about, like, you know, licensing or disc burning and time and all that. Thankfully, I have PC. Nice! Wait, hang on, I missed... So, Suko was... More were just doodles and whatnot. Ah, okay, so, like... So it is 3D, but it's like doodles like grease paint, for instance, or grease pencil in Blender? Also, the fuck is this place supposed to be? Oh! Ooh, hang on! I know that painting! Okay, so that's from chapter 1. That's after we dealt with the Whatsamahoozies. That's from chapter 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there must be like 8 chapters in this place. You use Autodesk Sketchbook on the phone. Is the phone big? Or are you just like really small? Is it like one of those like Samsung phones that folds out? Oop. Jump. Like, so these are where like murals will go, I reckon. Okay, so can I interact with these murals perhaps? Like, let's go to the first one. Because this is the first one here. Can I interact with it somehow? No. Doesn't look like I can. Excuse the pottery. Galaxy Note 9 in my case. Okay. Alright, so that's a Galaxy Note. That's not a small phone. That's an okay size. But yeah, that's still a goodness gracious kind of moment for me, because I'm gonna be real with you. You're talking about using Autodesk on a phone. Autodesk, the company that is meant to be like the engineer's choice for, hey, I want to machine this you know, intricate device, and it's very important that we go for very explicit measurements. You know that working 3D on the smartphone is hard, but not impossible? Understandable. I have not done too much of the 3Ds, so... Alright. There is this island. It's called Turtle Island. You know the giant lion turtle from Avatar: The Last Airbender and Avatar: Legend of Korra? It's basically that. But it's not a lion turtle, it's just a turtle, apparently. I thought it was a lion turtle when I first saw it. Autodesk doesn't support Sketchbook anymore. It's pretty much its own thing now, in case you were wondering. It did ring a bell, honestly. Don't know why. Run the bell. Alrighty. Oh, that reminds me. I need to change my equipment, because I don't have any more evil repelling things. Increase the damage. So that's the shock quelling. Fortify increases the critical hit chance. All actions cost no stamina. That one feels important, and I'll use later on. Burnt state, shock state, poisoned. Alright, I don't really... Alright. So yeah, so there's 2 different bosses to deal with. There's like a divine chick up there, and then there's a dude here. He was fishing earlier, and then his fishing pole turned into this giant fucking sword. Oh, he used his tail? Oh, that's... Oh. Oh! That hurt. Oh, are you asking me for like a perfect hit run or some bullshit? Ow! Been bug hunting in a game again. Ah, okay, okay. Fair enough, fair enough. Mostly when I work in 3D, I use Blender program. I don't know why, but it works for me. Hey, look, Blender's fine. Blender works. The few times I've done, like, 3D stuff, it has been in Blender, okay? Like, Blender is not, like, the industry standard, I understand, because, like, for instance, like, people, like, it does a lot of everything. It does the generic modeling, it does the texture painting, it does the sculpting, it does the compositions. It used to have a game engine, but that's no longer a thing anymore, thank Christ. It does a lot of things. Alright, so, what do I have that could help? So, that makes it so upon perfect gravitational decreases the cooldown. So I'm wearing that right now. I'm wearing this. Decoy and duplicates are coated in yellow wind, granting them considerable damage reduction. In Cloud Step, shrouded in black, so that's a reduced. This gives me more shock resistance. Upon perfect damage... Okay, so I could wear the Gale Guard, but I need 4 of them, and it increases it by, like, you know, quite a bit. That's the bronze stuff. Grants additional focus. Okay, I don't really have a lot of good... This gives me a chill thing, which is, upon consuming a focus point, moderately increases critical hit chance for a short time. Insect Guards has a reduced thing. So, Orchi... So that's Gale Guard, which... I could go for this one instead, for the increased... Maybe that's what I need. Maybe that's what I need to equip. So... That one's 3, which I accomplished with the Ochis. Alrighty, and then my Brew has it so I slowly increase my health. Alright, is there anything I can buy that can help? Shock alleviating. Buy you. Buy you. Fuck it. Golden Lotus, Celestial Pears. Aged Ginseng. I'm currently holding on to like 62, 39, 5, and 9. So let's go for 19. Alright. everyone has their own yeah, no, fair enough. Understandable. Alright, so that one's celestial pears and I need a lot of licorice. 2-1 to you, chilled, burn. Hey, this will help me out with the shock stuff. There we go. Alright. Alrighty. Let's deal with you again. Shock quelling, amplification, longevity, and tiger subduing. There we go. Ow, fuck you. Alright, he does a lot of shock damage. 3, 2, 1. Ow! Let's get you back up again. And just get instantly killed with that swipe. Okay, so maybe he's not someone I'm supposed to deal with right at this moment because he was just, you know, minding his own business. You know, what's it? Cyan Long, the third Long Prince. The Cyan one charges over the Yangtze River. Yeah, let's not disrupt him. Let's leave him be. Let's not, you know, do anything. Let's not piss him off. Let's deal with the other person who can be a problem. Also, unless, is there like... This is a relatively big island. Oh, thank Christ, there's like other people we can deal with. Awesome! I didn't know there was all these alternatives. I didn't realize I could explore this particular island. Although I do not like the weird plant thing that's up there. Did you guys see it? Like the weird plant thing? Blender program is amazing when you know how to work it there, but when I remember when learning the program for the first time, it was painful. Understandable? There's the plant. Ow, fuck you. Go, and then we absorb you to get some of the health charges back. Not a fan of that design. Oh yeah, where it has like everything. Yeah, that's true. I do wish Substance Painter wasn't like a, you know, an Amazon subscription that asked for either $100 each month or tens of thousands of dollars at the end of the year. Aha. Neat. Oh. Nope, never mind. Alright. Open this thingy-madiggies. No, sorry, not an Amazon subscription. A, Adobe subscription. My mistake. My bad. Not Amazon, Adobe. So yeah. Substance Painter used to be its own thing, but then it got bought out by Adobe and was absorbed with their Substance Painter, Substance Designer. So, yeah. Fishing? Alright, Sir Dragon goes through fishing. Don't mind me as I explore this lion turtle instead of, you know... Ooh, hang on. Okay, yeah, exploring this lion turtle is, like, kind of fun. I need that so I can retexture my avatar since there's no good alternatives. Yeah, every time I try looking for a good alternative, there isn't. And, like, the worst... Like, I think the biggest problem is just because the library of brushes is just really good. And the layer style, like, fits within Adobe's, like, purview and such. Why does this game feel like Elden Ring? Alright, Sir Dragon, the reason why is because mechanically, only mechanically, it's a Dark Souls game. Now, it does not meet Dark Souls in terms of tone or themes. Because this game doesn't have you, like, you know, just like, oh, hey, you've woken up after a great, you know, after this really crazy great party that so much shit went down. Unfortunately, you do not get to enjoy it, so... But you need to clean up after this place, so have fun, and then someone who was also at the party is like, hey, you know, you could, like, fuck off from this place, right? You don't have to listen to them. But then you have like no trust in either one of them then if you decide to follow one over the other. Like so you end up in this scenario of like, well, who the fuck do you listen to? Ow. Whereas in this game, it's like, yeah, there's a little bit of a story where it's like, ah, yes, you know, something happened with Sun Wukong and shit. But, you know what? There's interesting shit happening right now, and you are a protagonist. You may be a silent protagonist, ow, but you are still a protagonist. There we go. Alright. Ow, fuck you. There we go. More tree pearls. Alright, hopefully I don't drop into the water. Oh, yeah. Is this guy really just gonna let me, like, run around all over on his back? Oh, you son of a bitch. I should have seen that coming. Ow. Serene. Oop. Oh, you missed. Hey, there we go. Alright, is this guy gonna... Yeah, he's gonna... Alrighty. That's him out of the way, and on to the next villain. And deal with... And just, like, you know, raise the... Yep, deal. Fuck off. That... I do not like those, like, giant asparagus. Gather this, thank you. Like, look at them. It's just a giant asparagus. There's another giant asparagus. Fuck you, giant asparagus! Oh, fuck you. Sinking into the ground like that. Yeah, I wonder, is she still there? Yeah, she's still there. We can just get to her from the other side, it seems. Alright. There we go.
Died and come back. Into your mind.
Nice. Nice. Ow.
Tremors forged thunder. Classic corn bolts.
Wait, was I able to just, like, avoid, like, a phase with her just then?
Yield to your true self.
Yes! Okay, so she was meant to turn into that dragon like halfway through or something, but I was just like, stun, hitting her a bit more, stun, hitting her a bit more, stun, and then it's just like, oh, we just skipped. Oh. Oh, please don't. Oh, is she turning into a second form and now I have to, never mind, she's just, is she flying away or is this a second form? I do not know what's going on. Took me a second try with this person. I should have been trying to do stuns more often. I can't believe... Maybe the humanoid forms can get stunned more easily than the non-humanoids. Maybe that's the thing. Yeah. LOL. I'm just... That monkey is just 100% on business. He was just like, runs, she runs away, runs, jumps onto her, starts just punching her at her on her back and shit. Never mind the fact that if she falls, he's falling in the ocean with her, and I'm pretty sure Wukong can't swim. Oh. A rake? That person. Oh, he's absolutely fucking tiny. Okay, wasn't that big of a fall, but yeah.
What took you so long? Constipation? I was nearly cooked alive in there. Move it.
I honestly thought it would be bigger too. 'Cause, like, I don't know, I feel like...
What? 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 bastard I saw wasn't even worth my second glance back in the court.
Court?
Ah, that same look again. A furry coat and a pinched face. Luck's all you've got. Great, another mute. Whatever. Let's not dally. Now the turtle and I have shared a few tales. That Yellowbrow is not like other foes. That old Monkee from Mount Kuagwa asked me to back you up here to save you from his ugly tricks. He told me that once we gathered all 6 relics, we could bring Wukong back.
Oh.
Say I buy it for now. I'll go and catch up with him first. You take him around.
Well, we've got 2 of them so far. So far, we got 2 of the relics. So I'm guessing... maybe we are one of the, like, random strands of Wukong? Maybe that's why we have the affinity? There we go. Avoid the weirder monkey. But yeah, weird that he's not, you know... Because, like, we seen the boar guy back in Chapter 2. He was pretty big. Alrighty, anything else missing? Oh my goodness, there's a few of them. Dun 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 dun. There we go. Get fucked. Drink that, so then that way when we absorb the wisp. Lovely. There we go. Up. And there's the what's-a-mahoozy. I wonder if I can do the stun combo with him. No, I don't have, like, the full 3 thingy-madiggies, unfortunately, so... don't think it will work. I am curious if there's, like, another, I wonder if there's something else in the bell. Oh, that person's dead. Never mind. The dragon is dead, and... I cannot see if there's a way into the bell. Or the syllable, I guess. I guess it was called a syllable. And then they went through this way. Hopefully I can get back here. I'm not 100% certain if I can get back here, though. That's the thing that irks me. Because I don't want to, like, leave this island and then not be able to get back to it. But there were things to pick up. And there was a ball... I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna refill the stamina meter and the different meters that I have here. And we'll give a try to that, you know, dragon boss again. I now know the techniques that I want to try and employ. It's gonna be a lot of, like, stunning nonsense. Here we go. So, ooh, we can craft new armor as well. This might actually be useful. So that's for the... Alright. The long-scale battle robe. Vengeful Mirage will inflict thunder... Massively reduces the duration of shock state, moderately increasing thunder damage. And then the gauntlets to shock resistance. Yeah, we're gonna go for the long-scale graves, because... I need that for the shock resistance, and it moves me from, like, one kind of epic to another. Vengeful Mirage. So I'm gonna need to double check what the Vengeful Mirage is, which I think is a... let's have a look, So Vengeful Mirage, is that something because of the strands? Gray hair, synergy, multitude, insult to injury, volition. Gallop, ruse, concealed, thunder strike. Absolute Strike. Time Bargain. Alright, I'm gonna reclaim these sparks, because I'm not using them. Concealed Observation, Thunderstrike, Absolute, Easy Prey, Spirit Shards, Time Bargain, Boundless, Consolidation. Nope, so it's not those. Whirling Thrusts. What in the world is... Vengeful Mirage. Ah, there we go. Perfect Dodge leaves an illusion in your wake, which explodes instantly, dealing damage to nearby enemies. Cool. Alright, and then we have the options of when mana is depleted, a weaker light attack finisher can still be performed. Massively increases the focus gain from mobility spins. Yep, we're gonna go with that one. Increases defense, increases hit damage, stamina recovery, maximum. Increases the focus gain from perfect dodges. Increases when above half. Increases the charging speed. Massively increases the thingy. Casting no longer interrupts the light combo. Increases movement speed. Increases the maximum health of the decoy. Increases the critical chance of unveiling strike, which stacks per second while in cloud step. Yep. Let's go for that one. Alrighty. We rest. There we go. Let's get these monkeys. Oh. Ah! Don't bald me, little Incineroar. There we go. Ah, why are you doing it? Oh. Come on, drink up, drink up, drink up, drink up. There we go. Oh, why are you doing this? It's past 6:30. Ugh. Ow! Okay, that's a lot of shock. Shit.
Did you see it?
Cookie for Jason! Alright, here we go. There we go. There we are. Ow, 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 ow. Ooh. Ah! Okay, I did better that time. I did better.
Did
Okay,
you see
so
it?
it looks like they. Let me try. All right, let me try this again. I'm pretty close. Unfortunately, I use my. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Hang on. So. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. There we go. Ah! Dink, don't. Okay, so. All right, hang on a second. I need to do something real quick, because if I don't, it's going to cause problems. Dong. Ding. Dong. Where is it? 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 Alright. Thank you, Code. Alrighty. Let's have a look at the, Alright, we're gonna go for the... we're gonna do the one that gives me more health. And we're gonna do the one that... Oh yeah, thank you, Adblock, for reminding me to sign up for their premium. No! Why is... Okay, increases short decision for moderate duration. I'm gonna go for that. Alright. Here we go, here we go. Can I make any more medicines? The shock one, not really. That one is the poison site, that one's for the chill, this one's for the amplification. So let's go with the amplification. Body cooling. Again, I do not have the, I don't have the whatsamahoosies, the, Alright. Drink. 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 Ow.
Hello.
Hello, new YY. Welcome to the stream. Ow. perfect, but it's better than nothing. Oh, that's right. I'm not using the one that has the... Oh, you son of a bitch. Alright, did that get rid of... No, it didn't! It did not get rid of the sword. And I still get, like, all this shock nonsense. Oh. Maybe this island will come back. Maybe I will be able to come back to this island when I have, like, a much better resistance to the thunder and what have you. Because right now, I do not have that. And I'm a bit, you know, jumpy when it comes to that particular boss. I should just move on. I'll gain a little more experience elsewhere. I'll maybe craft a new weapon or some other piece of armor that's going to be suitable for the head instead. And, you know, maybe actually even go for something with an upgrade for the gourd. Because I want to increase the strength of the lamb brew, because I can upgrade that one time. It will then allow me to put in 3 soaks instead of just the 1, which I think would be which I think is a lot more useful than here's an instant 38% thingy-majiggies. Alrighty.
Idiot! Why loiter there? Are we leaving or not?
Yeah, I guess we're leaving.
My old friend! You must have had it rough all these years in this shithole!
Oh, why is this game being difficult now?
Sure. I'll take down that blasted temple to avenge you and Brother Snake!
Christ, this turtle is so fucking huge!
Easy!
Oh.
I hear you! Dead or alive, all suffer the same. You'd be better off staying a stone. Come on, cut the whips and wines, will you? You're too old for those. Yes, stop sobbing. Stay here and wait. I'll check on your snake, pal.
Alright. If the... Alright, cool. So we got another shrine there. So let's check this. If this thing has the teleporter back onto the turtle island, then we're fine. Imagine to give that turtle six roller skates. How fast would it be? It would be pretty fast. Alright, cool. So there is the turtle island. Nice. And then Macedonia has that. Alright.
Young one, did you ever hear the story of Yellowbrow?
No.
He used to be a measly altar boy to Maitreya in the east.
Uh-huh.
Stole his master's vessel to gain great power. Plug your ears to my tale, and you'll be sore for it.
Oh, he's helpful. Oh, what the hell was that?
Can you handle my rake?
Are you going to explain to me more? Or maybe I need to go back to the thingy-majiggy. I should have listened to him. Also, did I have, like, a thingy-majiggy cookie for turtle? I don't... Cookie for the turtle! Hopefully the turtle will like it. Turtle. What's this one? Increases the invisibility duration of the first move of all varied. Narrows the window. Temporary increases attacks after a perfect dodge. Considerably increases focus. After a successful hit within the cooldown of the spell is massively increased. Considerably increased critical hit damage. Alright, is this guy gonna talk again? Because I'll be real, I wasn't properly listening. Alrighty. Yeah, the dude's an idiot. You should have ran away. Its size, turtle, should be a little bit bigger. Yeah, I'm not gonna make a cookie for the giant turtle. That's a little bit ridiculous. There is not enough sugar and flour in the world to make a cookie for that turtle. Alright. More exploring. Let's head over to this random house.
One more familiar face. All my old friends together roused.
The hell's... what's that guy doing? Oh, hey, I can actually, like, you know...
Familiar face. Hey, off you go and tell him.
This is not for your eyes. Young one, you have spoiled my joy.
Goddamn lightning. God damn it, fuck you. Why can I search how much dough America consumes? Because America, despite not liking, you know, the government intervention, like heavy amounts and what have you, they do care about numbers. It's a very businessy thing to care about how much a country consumes. Because you know why? Because businesses want to know. Businesses would like to think that it's important that they know how much the consumers in America, you know, eat their dough, eat their fish, eat their beef. It's just a side of, like, you know, they don't want they don't want government knowing about this, but, you know, an overbearing corporation? Oh, absolutely. Nope, he's still dealing with him, I see. Alrighty. There we go. Ow, I did not know that was a thing he had. Ow, fuck you.
How can you be so cruel and boring?
There we go.
I might as well die. No chance at immortality. And forced to suffer your torment.
Statistics say the average American consumes 40 to 60 pounds of wheat dough. What, like a day? A week? A month? A year?
Only one of Shudong's resurrection pills can save me now.
Per year. Ah, okay.
Why are you still here?
Crying out in pain, and he wants the Zhu dog's, like, resurrection pills or something. Well, I know where the Zhu dog is, so we can easily go to him for it, but I would much rather explore this just a little bit more. At least until we find another, shrine to, you know, openly pray at or something or rather.
It is a temple, no doubt. Won't hurt to peek inside. Oh, the frost is biting hard. My rump is frozen solid.
Well, at least that guy explains shit. Alright, let's have a look. Yeah, because I went for the shock resistance instead of the continuous heal after the fact, which might be better with this particular gourd if it's gonna like shrink my healing by half. Hang on, someone asking for help?
Don't get any closer.
The New West is rife with liars. Steer well clear. He's surely up to no good.
You sure? He looks like he's in trouble. There's the other one. Alrighty. You gonna have a complaint? So what's the game about? We're following the Destined one, who, I'm gonna be real with you, looks like, you know, Wukong from the start of this game, because we did, like, a thing where Wukong was fighting on, like, some dude, and then he tried running away, and then the next thing you knew, he got crushed under a mountain. So think of it as a action RPG stamina-based combat.
I was on a treasure hunt, but I ended up being the hunted. I owe you my life, sir. I'll share the treasure with you once I find it.
Hi there, Bookie. Redeem didn't work? What redeem? Oh, the hello there. Oh my goodness, please don't tell me. Hang on. Is there, like, others I need to fix then? Hang on, let me... full screen effects. Hello there. Local file. No? You know what? We can replay it. Hello there. There we go. Alrighty. Back to the game.
Say, why is there nothing but Yaoguais in this so-called Buddha's realm? Can I look to you to save me again, sir, if they come back? Green without, round and sweet. Red within, a summer treat. Where can I find something like that?
Hey, Jack.
This frozen land. Green without,
Green without, round and sweet.
A summer treat.
Okay.
Where can I find something like that in this frozen land?
So, a green shell and a red interior. Don't mind me, I'm being a cowboy on Red Dead Redemption 2. Hey, nice! I hope you're having fun with Red Dead Redemption 2. Alright, doesn't look like anything there. Okay. Oh, hello. Alright, what's in the chest? Cookie for Bookie! Here's your cookie, Bookie. Bookie for cookie. Alrighty. Ooh. I'm glad I can just walk around. What's this? A Blue Ridge romance drink? Is that Zhu Bailey? Who? I'ma be real with you. Who? Each sip recovers 36% of maximum health, moderately increases... Ooh. Interesting. And it looks like it has, like, 3 thingamadiggies in there. Alright, are you talking about... Hang on, let me get out of the... Are you talking about this freak? This, like, tiny fucking boar dude with the random rake? Is that his name? I don't know who the fuck he is. Hang on a sec. Let me check my notes. Portraits. Characters. Nope. Nope. Cookie from Masonic. Here's your cookie, Masonic. A yellow-robed squire. In silken robes that flutter bright, a long-snouted guy with eyes alight. Drunk with joy, he sleeps on tombs for long. His spear and armor gleam like dawn. That might not be him. Headless Monk. Bodhishtava Yingji. From emptiness, desires arrive, bringing strife. From compassion, lust grows, vast as life. Past joys turn to future regrets. Cleanse the heart, let go as the winds set. Shen Monkey, Zhu Dog. So maybe it's this guy? It's just a yellow-robed squire. And apparently you talked to the Headless Monk at some point, who knows. Fubon is the dude on the armor, the Yellow Wind Sage. Kanjin Long, Kanjin Star. Captain Wise Voice. Upsetty. Look, I don't fucking know. Supporter Monk, King Blade. Yaksha Archer, Starved Abomination, or Red Hair, Lantern Wardens, and then Slave, Yaksha, Golden Lotus Guai. Nope. The Royal Family of Flowing Sands, the First Prince of Royal Sands, the Mother of Stones, Tiger's Acolyte, the Gore Eye Taoist, Mad Tiger, the quote-unquote Tiger Vanguard, Captain Lotus Vision. Look, I don't know. You're welcome to, like, slip into my VC and, like, give me the rundown on who Sun Wukong is and his companions and shit. Like, he said he was, like, an admiral or something, I think? When we were, like, fighting someone? Do not pronounce it. I feel like I would suffer trying to pronounce it. Okay, so is the first word Zhu? Or is it Zu? I feel like it's Zu. Zubage. Yes, I'm gonna break every single one of these guys.
Glug, glub, glug, glub, glug.
Look at him dealing with his own... I can't teach you the proper Hanyi Pinyi. What? Sure you can. You just need to be patient with me, okay? I'm a little dumb, alright? I'm a little himbo. Meow. Dun-dun. Dun-dun. I have... It's time for stretching... Oh, yeah, sorry. Yep. Stretchies and drinkies. I do not know that word. I am afraid to ask what that word is. I feel like I'm gonna get bamboozled if I do. I'm not gonna try and pronounce that. That one just feels like a bait. That one feels like bait. Ayo? It is a beginner. Huh. Cool. Alrighty. Moving. Alright, thank you for the hydrate, Sume Wolf. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I didn't get to that sooner. You didn't learn Mandarin, your pronunciations might be a bit off.
One more treat from my rake!
Yeah, he seems pretty pleased of himself. Hi there, Riled Saber. Yes, return to Monkee. Ow. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. Let me just jump. Alright. Alright, so, brews. Let's have a look. So, we've got this legendary Blue Ridge Romance. And from the looks of it, we can put in multiple soaks. So, damage reduction and... Using the gore can no longer be interrupted by incoming attacks and now provides considerable damage reduction. Okay, and then this one is the next rock solid costs no mana, increases maximum health, increases poison, increases shock. Like, that's pretty good! Hi there, Velk! There isn't a brew called Beached As? I know, disappointing. We'll find more brews, no doubt. We will find more of them. But yeah, like, so many of them. So yeah, and then we got the Lambrew, Blue Ridge. Thank you, John Thal. Beached is, bro. Ayy. Alrighty. Excuse me when I run through all these people.
Ford the stream, and we'll surely find something interesting.
Ford the stream? What does he mean by Ford stream? Is he like talking about going forward? Oh my goodness. The fuck died here? Yes, thank you, Watch, for reminding me that I should go to sleep in like 2 hours.
One more treat from my rake!
There we go. You found a Kickstarter for Winnie the Pooh book that's now in the public domain. 100 Acre Kingdom, and it thinks it's like a sequel to the Christopher Robin's daughter finds his old toys and creates a... Aww! Like, Bacon and Hobbs! Have you guys heard of bacon and hobbs before? Alright, so someone came up with a comic strip series in the same sort of fashion as, you know, the Calvin and Hobbes books, where Calvin has a daughter now named Bacon. And Bacon is, like, afraid of the dark or something like that, and she's, like, really scared and shit. So what Calvin does is he gives Bacon his old stuffed toy Hobbs. And, like, to Calvin, it's just a stuffed tiger at this point. But to Bacon, Hobbs is just is an actual tiger at this point. This is a new looking one. So yeah, it's kind of cute. I really appreciate that I have the additional guy here to, like, gang up on people in this area. It's a shame he wasn't there with me for the... Do you want the link, Zeebs? You can drop it in the Discord if you want.
Oh, nothing but bare bones.
Ooh.
That yellow brow is surely cruel. I'll give him that. A mute half-wit like you will be a lamb to the slaughter if you face him.
Let's see, can I... There we go. Welcome back, Shuto! Welcome to the stream. Welcome back. Also, why is there like a little thingy-majiggy there? Thank you. Jesus Christ, this snake had like a lot of bones. He reminds me of Zabimaru. You remember the... Oh, actually, we can interact with it. What the hell? Oh. You're bigger than the other bats I was fighting. Gonna give my hands a rest. Alright, you do that. Rest is important. Alright, let me get you held there. There we go. Ow, you were baiting me into that one. Go. Hi there, Ribber. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the retweets every time I go live. I really appreciate it. Yeah! Rat beats bat! Nice. Nice. Oh! Alright, so we didn't defeat him then. That's a shame. I need to publish some arts. Not to worry. But yeah, thank you for helping me with the algorithm, Ribber. Alright, so what's wrong with this snake? Oh. Okay, I thought the snake was dead. Turtle? You okay?
Turtle, enough with the tears. The Snake General has passed on. The once mighty generals, now tortured and shattered.
The fuck is a Genbu?
Great power.
Alright, you're gonna need to explain yourself, okay? Because I'm gonna be real, I'm not like, you know, the, I'm not the aficionado with this game, okay? I'm not, like, an expert. You can't just throw, like, nouns at me and be like, ah, yes, I understand exactly the black turtle snake. I'm pretty sure that's just a turtle. It's like a giant turtle. But if it's a turtle snake, I guess. Black turtle with snake tail, part of the four sacred beasts with the white tiger, the red phoenix, and the blue dragon. No, it does not ring any bells. But yeah, it looked like he looked at it and he had a bit of a cry. And he might have dropped something. It looked like he dropped a tear somewhere. Alright, so that leads upwards. Maybe that's the thing. The four cardinal directions, north, south, east, west. The four. Ah, okay. So that's the reason for their existence. Then that's their thing in the mythos. Okay. All right. So wait. So which direction is the black turtle with the snake tail? So this guy here, he's like a representation of the. Like, is it a representation of, like, the north, or is it more about the elements? Alright, hang on. 1, 2... Black tortoise, or the black snake, represents the north. Okay. Alright, I understand. Hey, he dropped a tear. It's right there. Alright, let's have a look. What is it? A turtle tear. Alright. It's used in drinks or soaks. Nice. Wasn't there a grasshopper? I don't know. I'm not the expert here. Alright, we got a new, like, brew. Let's have a look. So... when at full health, using the gourd recovers a moderate amount of mana. Huh. Interesting. Alright, let's... That's cool. We got a way to, like, recover the mana and what have you. Alright, let's head back to the... Because it looks like there was, like, a stairway or something. There's also a fifth symbol, the yellow dragon, or the quillin for the center. Okay. And I have nothing in my gourd. Quillin? Is that how I say it? Hopefully that's how I say it. Qilin. Oh, so QI is Qi. Qilin. Noted.
Looking for the Supreme? Come this
Nice try. You failed, and I won. Unfortunately, my gourd has not increased in unit. Basically a golden Kirin. But the Kirin in Final Fantasy XIV is already gold.
You go take it with hard look.
Celesta Christio. Oop. Where the fuck is... Ah, there's the guy. Ow, fuck you. Nice. Where's the thing that's, like, hitting us with ice? I don't see it. Unless... Nope, I think the thing that might have been hitting people with ice is dead now. More fragrant vines. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Alright. So that was off the beaten path. No more wine. So. Moving on. Moving forward, moving on. Moving forward, moving on. Now that the ad is over. Yes, welcome back from the advertisements. I hope you had a wonderful time over in the advertisements. Kirins come in different colors too, not just golden. Okay. Historians believe Kirin came from Asian emperors seeing a giraffe for the first time. Kind of like how the questing beast, a lot of people have the belief that the questing beast, like, you know, just came in from, like, people seeing giraffes for the first time and weren't too certain how to, like, you know, interpret that, like, nonsense. Oh, a Millennium Ginseng. Didn't know that was a thing I could pick up. Because, yeah, like, the questing beast has the head of it, so it has the neck and head of a snake, the haunches of a deer, and the body of a lion. So the idea is that it was like this...
Another Buddha figure. What a prank. Scores of hailed figures, and none of them bears my honest face. Ah! Not even close to Buddhahood yet.
Alright, so... Is there anywhere else to go? There's a lot of creatures that have mystical beasts inspired by them. What, the giraffe? I believe you. Alright, so can't go any further that way. We've already gone up there, so it looks like our only direction is this way.
I'm gonna explode!
Honestly, I love this, like, thing. The transformation. Because it also, like, comes back relatively quickly because I just need to get a charge, and then I just explode. First I'm gonna blow up, and I pretend I know no one. Absorb this, thank goodness. There we go. Ah! Well, I know that I just need to go up the path now. I can just go up. I can just go straight up the path now. Stretching! Ugh. There we go. There we go. Strands of hair. Thank you for waiting for me. There we go. Keep running. Gather this. Ooh, pearl tree seeds. That was a low chance of happening. There we go, and there's the other guy. Nice. Alrighty.
A handy cave to shelter us from the wind. If I fall sick from cold, boy, the blame falls square on you.
You're the dude who decided to just, like, walk around in a fucking open kimono, nipples out, and just, like, you know, leaving yourself to just have, like, tits frozen off. That's not my fault. I am properly, like, insulated. Never mind the fact that, for whatever reason, I still have no shoes, but... Monkee. Hello. I know you're telling me to go to the right, but we're gonna have a look at the left here. It is a little silly that I'm able to just do a mobile spin and it does that. Or how in India, the white elephant was a sign of royalty and divinity, but it's commonly believed by historians that the large white elephants existed, but due to the highly sought after by royalty, they went extinct because there's no wild ones that exist. Oh. That's weird, considering cows are considered sacred. They're all over the fucking place, but the white rhino, the symbol of royalty, was just like, yeah, like, I really wanted it. We had a really hard time getting it, and now it's dead. It's like when they were trying to get the turtles from, like, Madagascar over to UK. It kept getting eaten by the crew.
Bitter cold. So much for the journey, I guess.
Ting. Alright, we can reignite new Stark stuff. Imagine an ancient king is shown as zebra for the first time. Mind blown. Most likely. Increases movement speed. Increases the thingy. No longer interrupts us. Consumes a moderate of additional mana to massively extend the duration period. You know what? Yeah, let's increase the mobilization thing. Alright. Let's see how this goes. I swear, if we have to deal with the other monkey again...
We friends, you
There we go. Oh, a new meditation spot. Nice! I like these meditation moments. I like the calm. I like the serenity. So it's got a nice like you do a lot of combat, and then the next thing you know, you're just like, you know what? Let's take a beat. Let's have a moment. I think they are very important. An enhanced tiger subduing pellets, and we get ourselves a formula for it. Nice.
One more treat from my rake!
There we go. Absorb these. Thank you. Alrighty. Easy. It calms you down. It gives you a little moment to reflect. It gives you a chance to not be all adrenaline high. Because you make mistakes when you can't control your adrenaline. You either run away or you start being violent. But you give yourself a little bit of meditation, and you give yourself a little opportunity to just, you know, relax. See? That's someone that's close.
Isn't everywhere just
There we go. And we get ourselves another spirit. Oh, wait, hang on. Damn it, I should have drank in from the thingy-majiggy, then picked up the spirits. Because that fills me up by full. A red hair yaksha. Another sad history fact. The lion, tiger, bulls, and other animals that were in the Roman Colosseum were hunted to extinction because they were sought for the games. The bull species that survived the Ice Age died out because... Yeah, they had, like, mammoths and, like, water battles in the Colosseum as well. It was fucking insane. There was a lot that was happening in the Colosseum. Yo, what's up?
Oi, kid. You look suspicious. What kind of Yao Guai are you?
I'm looking at that Buddha over there.
Oh my god.
See his belly button? It's so big. Me and you, we look way smaller.
Buddha? Where is it?
You see no Buddha because you think no Buddha. No thought, no sight.
I, the sacred gourmand, saw enough Buddhas before you were born. Foolish brat. You didn't see that coming, did you?
True hearts find their path, and the Buddha is on that path. Why not worship with a true heart? The path might just show itself.
Worship my hoof. Visit temples, kneel to figures. You tell no black from white. That's my master. I am fed up with all these skin-deep rites.
No true heart, the path is sealed. With true heart, it's revealed.
Close relatives. Also, the last mammoth died out during the medieval ages. Yeah, it was like a long... Like, we had mammoths for a long time.
Why the rush? Try looking around. To see a Buddha, one must hold the Buddha in one's heart. Why the rush? To see a Buddha, one must hold the Buddha in one's heart.
Uh-huh. 500-700 years ago.
That's enough rest. Onward now.
Shame. Oh, hey, there's a Buddha over there, though. You know you could have just walked, right? You didn't have to do your little teleportation thing in particular. You could have just walked. Absorb this. There we go.
Ah, I get it now. 4 Buddhas, that boy said. Ah, there must be 4 Buddhas to worship. Loony monk. God reason with him.
I don't know, that sounds pretty reasonable. Now we just need to find 3 more monks. He had short stubby legs. A short jog for you is a 5-mile run for him. Just because you're smaller doesn't mean the unit of measurement is greater. See, look at that. 1 flight of stairs is still a flight of stairs. There's another Buddha. Plenty of Buddhas to look for.
Just go through the motions, boy. Who knows if it's true or not? That little monk was speaking riddles.
Yeah, everyone has been speaking in riddles to me. Weirdly enough, you're the only one who has not given me nonsense and shit, so I thank you for that. Alrighty. Okay. We go up, we go down. We go up, we go down. Wisecracking Gruff Pig is a perfect sidekick. He's doing fairly well for himself. Good on you. Buddha number 3.
Back when we journeyed to the New West, our master took it from Mount Lingshan. He visited and kneeled to every figure until Yellowbrow captured him. I'm not my master.
I don't know if his belly is jiggling, but yeah, you do you. Alrighty. slap him on the butt. Alrighty. Actually, chat, give me a sec. I'm gonna... Oop, hang on. Alright, once I get out of this fight, I'm gonna run a 3-minute advertisement real quick, just so then that way I have a chance to go to the bathroom, but then to also have my watch charging, so it's like close to full battery once I go to sleep and such like that. Plus, final Buddha is there, so we'll deal with the Buddha there once we do. So, sources, the BRB screen, and 3-minute advertisement. Here we go. BRB. Bathroom. Crystal. Oh! Oh! Yeah. Careful, they got the shield, so like they just need... Oh!
I win.
Yes! Nice work! Can you pick up my card and revive me, please? You can leave the medallion there, so then that way it doesn't like fall you and such like that for now. Yes! Oh! Thank you, Cap.
Like I said, I'd win. Oh shit! Hey, Griffin!
Someone clip that. Someone please clip that. That moment of Cap, of like just congratulations, Cap, and Cap is just like, nah, I'd win. And then Peter Griffin.
How do I click?
Oh my god.
I, GrantZeebs, love being put in a cute maid outfit and love.
System. I think everyone was like really close, only because Rudy, stop it! .250 kilometers in any German vehicle, 20 air skills in any Volkswagen buggy, drag race in a German super saloon, any German vehicle. Why? I'm just so broken.
Yeah, you can't spell nutrition without nut, am I right?
Alrighty. Cool! I made it back with like a... Made it back with a minute to go. Alrighty, we won't like jump across just yet. No mentions yet.
Hey, 14.
14. Alrighty. 14. Stop the animation, head back to here.
Wait, hang on a second. I got the...
Bing, dong. Here we go. Alright. Oh, I need to click here. There we go. So, what does this guy do? Moderately increases heavy damage. Heavy attack damage. Ooh. That's interesting. Shoots a arrow imbued with exceptional power at the force. Okay. It's a rare. I'm using epics right now. Upon use, considerably increases attack for a relatively long time. Licorice tree and jade. Nice. Oh, hey, characters. Turtle General. Completing Juan Mu's name, the turtle and the snake. Cycles end and cycles start. The Yao Guais they break. In frozen realms of ice and snow, they honor nature's call. United hearts in decay, better to die than living in pain. Oh, okay, so this is the New West, above the Bitter Lake. Hang on. The New West, above the Bitter Lake. The turtle and snake generals reveal their true forms. The turtle general, as massive as Mount Tai, landed in the sea, causing huge waves. The snake general, resembling the mythical Zhu Long, coiled around the mountain ridge, shaking the earth. Yellowbrow showed no fear, wielding a spike shaft cudgel, strong and flexible, engaging the two generals in fierce combat. The turtle sprayed water, and the snake breathed fire, almost gaining the upper hand. Suddenly, Yellowbrow threw an object into the bitter lake, which transformed into a 10-tailed golden fish. The fish grew rapidly upon contact with water, entangling the turtle general. The snake general intended to assist, but Yellowbrow untied a sack from his waist, releasing a strange beast. This creature has a gilded body and a Buddha's head, with sharp claws on its feet. On the shore, it engaged in a fierce and evenly matched battle with the snake general. Noted. And we get no explanation for the weird Buddha dude. The weird Buddha child. Nothing new on the Yao Guai kings. What about the chief? Nope, nothing there. Hi there, Sage. Welcome to the stream. Hi. Alrighty. Fourth Buddha statue. Let's see what happens.
What's that sound? That little mug's up to his tricks once more. Worship my hoof. Let's go back.
Yeah, okay. Oh, hey, we're back here. Nice. Alright, pick up the thingy. There we go. Alright. Wait, they weren't there before, were they? Kid? Hey.
Chubby one, we've done the rites.
Chubby.
The path. Isn't it always there?
Oh, you gotta be shitting me.
Don't you trick me, you bald, pot-bellied brat. All I see a mountain of no path at all.
He sees wisely with a You are dark without it.
Cut your nonsense. You must be that trickster himself, fooling us all along. Take my rake.
Why so rude? I didn't force you to kneel. Throwing a tantrum at your age? Shame on you.
You brat! Save your stupid path. I'll borrow one myself. You go on first. I'll meet you at the summit.
Dude, crunchy audio? Yeah, CPU. Sorry about that. CPU. No? Alright. CPU will do that. Alrighty. So it looks like the path is... more ginseng. Let's absorb some wisp. Thank you for the head pats, Ginger Fox. I do appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. How are you? Don't. Gentian. Okay. But yeah, check out my throne, chat. I mean, so yeah, because I've been trying to get, like, my weight has plateaued recently, and I wanna try and improve it. And the thing is that I kind of enjoy walking, but the thing is that I don't like going out. it's an unfortunate thing. It's like, oh, I can get behind walking. I can get behind, like, you know, not thinking when I'm walking. Like, I think when I jog, I'm aware of the exercise when I'm exercising or doing free weights and such, but when it comes to walking, oh, my mind can just decide to, you know, switch off from the actual walking part and instead go through, like, anything else. What flavor of potato chips do you like, and do you like chips on the side or in your sandwich? I like sour cream and onion or spicy barbecue. Those are my two picks. Unfortunate, and I don't know who the fuck would want to have them in the sandwich. They are a side piece. The only time I have chips in the quote-unquote sandwich is when it's a burger, and it's decided to be extra clever by putting corn chips with, like, some spicy food, like, Mexican blend. Where was I in my chain of thought? Oh, yeah. So, I was thinking of, you know, a treadmill. Or, in this case, it's a walking pad. And it's a walking pad that, like, can hold 145 kilos, which is impressive, because most walking pads are, like, only holding 120 kilograms. And, unfortunately, I am over 120 kilograms. I'm, like, 141 right now? 141.5. So, I'm trying to get on, like, here's the goal. Here's the intention. Long term, I want to get under 100 kilos. I don't want to be as heavy as, like, Homer Simpson, Donald Trump, or Nikki Avocado. Those are people I do not want to be the same weight as, or heavier than. And I've done, like, reasonably okay when it comes to the dieting aspect. Like, I've been trying to reduce how often I go out to eat. And the next thing I need to try and do is try and apply, like, a little more exercise in. Because if my diet right now is what's, like, leaving me plateaued, then clearly the next step is I have to do the, I have to, like, increase the amount of energy I export in the day. Which, you know, like, I don't like gym. I've tried so many times with a gym membership, and it ends up not being useful. And I'm living on my own right now. I don't have housemates or a partner who's, like, able to drag me out of the downpour. Medicine! Enhanced. Using the monkey head fungus in purple. This one uses the snakehead mushroom. There we go. That way we have spares. Anything new? No. Alright. Sell, use. Rest, so we can, you know, increase our health and mana, and then recharge. You had to end with the worst of the worst. What do you mean? Wait, you mean for the sandwich burger thing, or... I'm gonna be real, I kind of forgot what we were talking about, besides the other thing. Does not help. I hope you realize how fucking dumb I am.
And another shows up. The face of the destined one. It will fit me just as well.
Ugh. Won't say who I'm specifically saying, but some of the three... Oh! Nikki Avocado, yeah. Oh, you son of a bitch. Oh. I almost got him off the cliff, but then he just ran away. Hit that guy along with the majority of the engine at 2 now. Oh. Really? I thought he, like... You're off to bed? Need my beauty rest as I'm a handsome mug. Doesn't happen naturally. Fair enough. Good sleep is important sleep. You have a wonderful time, Wild Saber. Rest easy. Honestly, that gourd that I found is very useful. Or not the gourd, but the wine. More crunch! Nice. He made a fool out of everyone, watched him, and ended with, "You can never change who you are," while also calling everyone ants. Oh. Really? So the weight loss thing wasn't real then, is that it? Okay, so he did reduce his weight and such. It's just he's done like a shit ton of pre-recorded stuff. God, okay. I am so confused by the Nikki Avocado stuff now. Also, what is this person gonna do? Yep. Then a 7-month gap, you believe, was due to him running out of drafts. Okay. Alright, so he had all kinds of videos of, like, the mukbang and such saved up. And then for the next 2 years, he was, you know, doing a weight loss and such, uploading new videos. Those that were all the pre-recorded stuff. And then for 7 months, we had nothing. And then he did his, like, 2 steps ahead video, where he's, like, super skinny and such. But apparently we have, like, another... We had, like, another video or something like that? I don't... Oh, here he is again. sorry, did I just... There we go. There we go. Oh, now he's got poison? Not great. And I have barely the... Ah! Oh no, in the same video where he really revealed the weight loss and basically and we would never change. Okay, so he is going through his villain arc. He is going through his villain arc and what have you. So, here's the thing. When did he stop? Okay, let me clarify on what I mean by the villain arc. It's like, he's in his second act as a villain or what have you. The Nikki Avocado stuff, I'll be real with you. I am not, like, 100% down on what the fuck is going on. I only know, like, you know, small things here and there, and then, like, superficial nonsense where it's like, yes, the mukbang things was, like, what he was popular for. He got a lot fatter for it. He got health problems because of it. And then the next thing you know, like, he has the argument or complaint that the reason he's doing these mukbangs and the reason for his poor health is because the viewers keep wanting him to do these kinds of things. And, you know, I can honestly believe that he's probably getting pressured by the viewers and the money to do it. So then that's why that's why he has the pre-recorded videos of all the mukbangs for like several months, or like for a year and a half before you get the reveal of him getting skinny. We kept applauding, like, we kept, you know, absorbing whatever his fucking mukbang content as we want, and no one leaked that he was, like, super skinny or anything like that. And then when he did do his reveal that he was super skinny, like, we all applauded him and what have you, and as if, you know, because we weren't there for the process and everything. So, yeah. Crazy stuff. Alright, let's have a mix. Let's have a look. So, increases the thingy, so increases the mana usage. Alteration, meanwhile, does the Shadow Steps touch. Can be conformed with a charged... Ooh, that's a good one to use. Alright, so... When hit, the decoy will generate that increase... Yep. So that increases the health. Increases the movement speed. And then the strand does the plucky stuff. Oh, maybe I should have done stuff for the strand. Alright, hang on. Let's have a look. Reduces the key. Increases health. Increases critical. Increases the heavy attack. Increases stamina, gain small amount. He was really unstable during the whole mukbang thing. Yes. That is true. Increases, moderately increases thunder damage. Slightly increases, done by reduces stamina sprinting, increases focus gain, increases attack, incredibly... Significantly increases defense is what I'm using here, and I quite like that. So now he's trying to be like a supervillain? I don't know. I think the fact of the matter is that he's being petty. Here's the thing. There is so much of fucking YouTube that seems to be that we're just having all these kinds of people either falling from grace with, like, you know, some sort of, you know, act or gratiality to it where it's like, you know, you kind of have to applaud them for it overall. And then you've got some like Mr. Beast where you had, you know, a co-worker or, you know, someone that was like hired as an intern doing a huge amount of reveal and just reminding people, hey, maybe don't applaud the dude who's like doing all these like lottery nonsense, which, you know, a lot of YouTubers definitely were doing in the early days of YouTube, but it's a bit of a problem when it's like, you know, huge quantities of nonsense like Teslas and possibility of homes and such, and, you know, a lot of people had, you know, reasonable complaints about, you know, Mr. Beast and what have you. And today's age, it's like, oh yeah, not only did he have the scathing, like, 2-hour video, but now there's also the case of, oh, Amazon is dealing with lawsuits and complaints because of, you know, people not pay the minimum wage or after hours and sexual harassment on this game show. Which is crazy to think. Didn't Mr. Beast do something that basically ruined a town's plumbing? I don't know about ruining the town's plumbing. The only thing I know close to that is he made a new well in an African home, in an African village or something or rather. That's the most I've picked up. So is there something? No, there isn't. Okay, cool. But yeah, overall... Oh, wait. No. Ah! Should have used the... Never mind. Overall, there is a lot of YouTubers that we would have, like, respected and, you know, given them a little bit of, like, you know, leeway and such. Turns out their behavior has kind of escalated to, makes you really regret the tattoos. It was flushing slime or something, and logically it would ruin the plumbing.
Starts now!
Little Incineroar, please! Come on.
Change the lead.
Oh, Jesus! Oh! Oh, the perfect dodge! I did 2 perfect dodges just then! So the lightning was able to do enough damage to defeat him. Oh, you gotta head to bed to rest. Wish you a good night, Zeebs. Not to worry, Ribbear. Thank you so much for coming along. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you had a wonderful time. Rest easy. None white. Cool. Alrighty. I absolutely detest that man. We're gonna have to give him a try at some point, however. Okay, so... Hmm. Alright. Nice. Alright, self-advancement. Let's have a look. Let's see. So the pluck duplication spell increases the duration of the duplicates, increases the damage dealt by duplicates nearby, increases the maximum health of duplicates. Grants a moderate amount of focus for each successful light attack dealt by duplicates. After using a pluck of many, hitting enemies moderately extends the... This effect can stack up to 10 times. Yep. Let's go with those then. Because I've got most of my foundationals done. And then... Yep, so those guys are done. Alright. I didn't get, like, any curios. And it looks like... No, that's just a wall. Never mind. Goodness gracious, the CPU is getting a little bit crunchy. Alrighty, hopefully this isn't gonna spell our... Oh, you. And I have, like, no potion in me. Valley of Ecstasy! Lovely. Oh, nice. Alrighty, we are definitely gonna... Alright, absorb this. There we go. Alright, before I deal with that toad, let's get a shrine and then deal with the toad. So then that way I'm not doing like a really long run back. There he is. You know what that toad reminds me of? The fucking times I've dealt with Ogdo Bogdo back in, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Alrighty. Get exploded on. Nice. Oh. Okay. ring will remain active until the spell dissipates. Even if you step out, it will still grant benefits upon your return. I wonder how effective the Ring of Fire is. Hang on a second, chat. Alright. Set spells. Alright, so we change from the Immobilize to the Ring of Fire. I know there isn't a lot of effects right now, but we'll give it a try and we'll see. Alright, hang on, I need to also... Oh, new curios. Land enough successful hits on an enemy to avoid the next fatal blow. And slightly increases... Alright, no, that's what the previous thing does. Alright, this one will reduce the chilled effect. There we go. Ow, fuck you. Could you, like, stop? Alright, so the Ring of Fire does not help me there. Back to the immobilization. We are going to be trying... We're going to try with the technique of phrasing, stun locking, stun locking, stun locking. We're going to give that one a try again. Immobilize is just such a good spell. Granted, I haven't done any upgrades to the Ring of Fire, but it doesn't look like it has like some sort of natural effect against the ice and all that. So, self-advance, set spells, change that back over the immobilize thingy-majiggy. Alright. And then cultivate spirits. Let's have a look. So, none white. Spin, leap, draw near the target in a flash, and sprout thorns all over the body to stab him. The equipped effect is moderately increases poison and frost damage. Huh. I don't conduct any of those things, but... Let's see. Let's give them a try. Alright, I also need to change Tiger Subduing to Enhanced Tiger Subduing, the Shock Quelling to that, the Amplification, and Longevity is none of those things. Alright. Alright, let's do the pluck. Give me my health potion. There we go. Nice. That went off a lot better. More tadpoles for whatever reason. Cool. Let me just drink this, because that took a lot out of me. Oh, hello. Nice, some aid ginseng. Alrighty. Oh, hello.
Kind sir, pause your steps and heed my story.
Uh-huh.
I was a fox guy who practiced to become one of the humans.
Oh, you're on the thingy.
I was foraging for food and found myself caught in a hunter's trap. A young scholar helped me and kept
Oh!
me in his home.
This is the story from the end of chapter 2.
Yet my heart swelled with gratitude. I thought I could aid him in his career in return for saving my life. Little did I foresee that, following a dream, he would take my life. My soul lingered, yet he left without a trace. I sought tirelessly, only to find he had become a monk in the new Thunderclap Temple. I beg you, sir, to take my fur and wear my form, confront him and calm my sorrowful heart.
Oh, Fox.
He's hiding in the side hall of the temple. Kind sir, will you lead me to him?
Nice. I am curious what will happen. Okay, so I can't pick up things when I'm in the fox's form. I wonder if this is one of the forms that son Wukong had. I know he had a lot, but I'm not 100% certain. Whoa. Did not know that was a person. Alright, let's run even faster. Running. Running. Alright, I'm gonna go back to that fox. So I wonder if I went to the wrong place. Like, unless cultivate spirits. Is it a new spirit? Doesn't look it. Alright. In the lower north shore of the Bitter Lake is where a dragon is, apparently. Oh yeah, the Dragon Admiral, what's-a-mahoozy. Forest of Felicity. Alrighty. Different gourds hold variety amounts of wine. Some gourds are mystical treasures themselves, offering unique benefits. Nice. Alright, so...
No can do.
Nice. Siribot got rid of a bot trying to sell me cheap viewers. Shame on them. Uh-oh. More lesser Yao Guai. Alright, so this is the part where the place suddenly gets bigger. Noted. The place gets a lot bigger. Dun-dun. So, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Not to the squall. We're gonna head to the cellar. We're gonna go check in with the Zhu dog. I think that's how you say it, Zhu. Could be wrong. Would be very problematic if I was wrong. Abilities strengthen your build, spells better your tactics. The journey requires its traveler to be prepared with both. The herbs and fungi you gathered along the mountain path are all essential medicine ingredients. Certain medicines necessitate a formula. Alright. Sup, Jew dog?
May Lord Lao illuminate your path, brave one.
Alright, you can make some celestial medicines? You can. So it costs 2 to do the stamina. Could you do the maximum health, please? That would be very appreciative.
And thou shalt have pills.
Just, like, gets a fan out and just makes an explosion come quicker.
Yet I choose the rarest few.
Nice. Maximum health increased by 45 is good. Pretty decent increase. And then there's mortal things which you can make.
Your grim fate alone speaks for that old Long's bullying. Pray refrain from blaming him. His ill temper persists unaltered since the first day of our long acquaintance.
Uh-huh.
Regret not, for his power endures. his desire be but one more pill, gladly bestowed by me.
Upon use, enhances the tenacity effect of certain staff abilities, making them less susceptible to interruption for a short time. Interesting. I'll give them a try another time. Also, did I hear correctly? Like, it sounds like there's a banjo user around here. He's not over there. Is he up here? No, it doesn't look like anyone's here. Oop, gather that. Thank you. I've already been onto that meditation spot. It's fine. Okay, what is taking my resources? The CPU has been having a very funky moment, and I don't fully understand why. Like, what is up with my CPU? What is taking it? You're gonna have to forgive me. It's at 100% right now. Ultra Leap, Desktop Manager. So Ultra Leap is the one that's taking out the most. So this thing is taking the most resources. The Chrome only takes a little bit. OBS, as always. I don't know why the Desktop Manager has like such a high CPU usage. And I have a second window? Oh yeah, the Telegram, of course. Of course. I'm a fool. Alright, close that. So that should hopefully reduce the number of... No, it doesn't reduce them any further. I don't want to delete browsing data. Is there a way for me to, like, performance, inactive appearances, no sites have been added, memory saver. Alright. There we go. Also, I'm gonna add that to my... I'm gonna add that tab to the reading list so I can close it. I have a lot of tabs that I need to, like, bookmark or just add to the reading list and deal with later, because they're just open rather than, like, you know, being... Alright, close that. That one is also going to be a reading list one. I wish there was, like, a shortcut key for, like, adding a thing to a reading list. And then... those are shopping ones, so we're going to delete the tab. Save the group. So then that way... Hey, I can... Alright, so... and then I can hide group? Interesting. Also, good news, chat. My payout was successful. Thank you, Twitch, for paying. Alright. Alrighty then. Is there anything else that could be taking up my resources? Other than the obvious ones. Because the Ultra Leap is taking, like, 30% right now. Man, I never imagined that, like, Ultra Leap would be taking so many resources just for hand tracking. Like... I wonder if it's a case of, like, stopping it and starting it again, maybe? But it's a service, which is like an even messier amount to like clean up. Hi there, Davy boy. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? Alright, I have... Where is it? So I got myself the fortified medicine. I then got this special made bone strengthening pellet. Which is gonna go to the, it's gonna go to, like, the long dragon, whatever his name is. I don't know how to say his name. Maybe I just need to... The leap motion doesn't do too good of a job of, like, capturing my hands while I'm using a controller. So I might need to consult, like, maybe I should, like, look into a thing that allows it to, go for my incense. Travel back over to the mountain so we can go talk to the big monkey. Like, maybe I should look into, like, methods of having the hands and what have you holding onto a controller or something like that. And instead of having it where it's based off of, like, you know, the leap motion here, it's instead based off of the, like the button prompts from the controller. So maybe then that way could be better, but I'm managing. Gonna get back into Wukong myself. Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm currently up to chapter 4. I'm going back to, like, previous chapters right now, because I've been, like, collecting resources, and there was, like, a quest that had me go back to chapter 2 for Zhudog for like, a special pellet. So now I'm going over to the Monkee, because I've got, like, this brand new wine that's got, like, 3 soaks in it. So I can upgrade... There's only 1 gourd I can upgrade, unfortunately. And then there is... Oh, I can't upgrade any drinks. So, like, this one requires 3 of 5. That's 1 of 3. I thought I had way more awakened worms than that, but I guess not. And then... Yeah, here it is. The Blue Ridge Romance. Each sip restores 36% of maximum health and moderately increases the movement speed. It's got 3 soaks, so I've applied the slowly, you know, restoring us amount of health, moderately increasing the damage reduction, and restores a moderate amount of mana when at full health. I might swap that to something else. Because, let's see, Iron Pellets. Using the gore can no longer be interrupted by attacks and can provide considerable damage reduction. Only started chapter 4 myself, was planning to backtrack to see if I missed anything. Understandable. Because I'm not, like, this doesn't really do much for me as opposed to this. Is there anything in his store that's new? Just the Jade Lotus Gourd, which recovers a considerable amount of health for nearby duplicates upon using the gourd. So, each sip recovers 36% of maximum health, moderately increases movement. Okay, so that's for the romance thing. So the gourd has an effect, and then... So yeah, so the gourd has an effect, and then the drink has, like, the choice of soaks. Radio. Put awakened worms into the drink to enhance the recovery effect. Upgrade the gourd that has been obtained. I don't know if they're, like... Apparently if you fully... like, upgrade this one, you're able to get other stuff, but... Yeah.
Drink. Drink. It can lead to success.
So yeah, because right now the gourd that I'm using is this one, the Plague Bane gourd. You can't upgrade this one any further than, like, the 5 thingies. The recovery is by half, but damage is increased for a short time after using the gourd. This one here doesn't have any effects when I use it. So, hence why I've stuck to it. And then, let's have a look. So this is the Rat Sage. Long. Maybe I'll go back to this one. Craft a Keeper Shrine or a Blacksmith. Oh, there's a blacksmith somewhere out in this world. Still have not met the blacksmith. Whatever his name is. Alright. Head to you. Travel to the New West. Heading to the north shore of the Bitter Lake. I wonder how I might do against the long fella that's on the Turtle Island. Maybe I'll do better. Also, what the hell is with my... You know how sometimes you might scratch the top of your head and you feel like there might have been like a cut or something that you didn't realize was there, and then it just does like a little... like one of those heel things where it's like a scab, that's it. Sometimes I wonder if I should shave my head. I'm unfortunately in the middle of work, so it's not like COVID where I could have probably have gotten away with several months of not having hair and no one would question a thing. But, yeah. It's something I've desired. Seeing what I would look like bald. And then worst case scenario, you know, grow the hair and just accept that if I ever do lose hair, go for a wig before I accept baldness. Alrighty. But yeah, there's the dragon. You have escaped work. Nice work. I'm glad you don't have to deal with any, like, crazy peeps. Alright, dude, here you go. Here's a pellet.
I knew you could do it! The young may yet be taught. With this pill, I'll gain the strength to unseal that precious place, the Painted Realm. A peaceful haven I built with my fellow deities.
The what?
Now the monkey is in place, we should gather once more.
Huh? Oh! Was that a good idea? I don't know if I made the right decision. Near the hut the crop thrives. In the Painted Realm their hearts lie. Cool, I got an achievement for that. Nice. Oofies. Get sucked. You know exactly what you said, Jack. Do not deny it. You know exactly what you said, then. Also, Monkee. Oh, hey, there's Jules again. Oh, hey, everyone's here. Nice. Reuse scroll. Special item. Nice, 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 nice. Okay. The Zodiac Village. Huh. Hello. How'd you end up here?
Self-refinement is the way to make gold. Oh, many thanks for reuniting us here, brave one. This is a perfect place for my art. I've long yearned to come back. Henceforth, brave one, come timely to fetch medicine.
Gonna head off for now so you don't get spoilt on things. Not to worry, Davy boy. I'm amazed that I'm actually, like, now, like, at you or ahead of you, weirdly enough.
It retains the energy.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming along. I greatly appreciate it. Nice. Tonifying nice, so I can, like,
no
ask...
shame in taking the pills. More unfair, the innate skills.
Yo, what's up? Hi, Freckles. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing alright. Cookie for Jason.
I've turned to drink since my descent.
Uh-huh, you did.
I thought I'd never see those friends again. But here I am, back to the Painted Realm.
Cookie for Jason.
Now I'll drink with my friends in this hideaway. Who needs to fight for a journey?
Shen. So yeah, he can upgrade the medicine gourd, he can upgrade the one of two drinks.
Fire's court is a cage.
Nice. And then here you are.
Now all the Zodiac deities may come and go freely.
Oh.
Hey, don't make light of our kind. Without our assistance on such an arduous journey, it may be too hard for you to complete. It's rare for strangers to gain entry here. Seeing our paths crossed, I brought you in.
I appreciate it. Deliver seeds gathered near your journey and have them painted in the planted... Yeah, sure.
As they say, fine soil yields fine sprouts, and fine sprouts bear fine fruits. Ah,
nice.
Rest assured, this old long knows his trade. From seed to sprout to fruit to harvest.
Licorice, fragrant jade, and a tree pearl. Possessing a cool... Alright, so it looks like they take a bit of time. They don't...
Leaving so soon? Do visit from time to time.
Interesting. Okay. Hope you're having a wonderful morning there, Freckles. So, we've met the fox, we've met the monkey, we've met the dragon, and we're meeting whoever the fuck this is. Tiger?
Spare me, you prattle, it bores me. Since you're here, the scrap you're holding can stay no more.
You can challenge them, we can buy things from the store. So we can gather general armor materials, silk, Yaogwai cores, and yarn. Nice, okay. We can craft weapons. That requires a lot more will. We can use that. We can craft armor. There isn't anything new here. And we can upgrade armor. Nice. We need fine gold thread for that one. Oh, okay. Allows the gorge use while sprinting. Alright. Pilgrim Garms. Dance of the Black Shroud. So that uses silk and cold leaves. Fine gold thread, fine gold thread. Alright, so that goes to 46. This is at 53. On perfect dodges grants considerable amount of... There are more of these guys. Yeah, there's apparently more of these guys. But yeah, interesting. So that does 36. That does 14. I kind of want to... Alright, so that can only be upgraded 3 times. This can be upgraded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Let's see what happens when we upgrade it.
It might befit you well. This can give you some edge.
But you need... Alright, so that's 23. This is 22. This is 53. That does a pretty big increase. Will inflict Thunderbane, so that's still a good one. Model increases sprint speed. Performing light attacks following Evan's sense directly triggers the finisher of light attack combo. Upon consuming a focus point, moderately increases critical hit chance. Okay, so these are interesting ones. After a moment in Cloud Step, considerably increases unveiled. Okay.
How
give you
an
that.
armor in place. A sure oppose in any
27
case.
versus 30. Okay, so that's not really doing a lot of upgrades. Do we want to challenge him?
Edge sharpened. Arm restless. I was looking for someone to test it.
Alright.
Mark me. This blade is cast from the best metal. Don't blame me if you hurt yourself. A dishonorable trick. Into the leaves.
Ow! I saw exactly where he was. Oh, interesting. Delayed hits. Up. Uh-oh. 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 Ugh.
The Zodiac deities never hold back. You're far below him. Train well before returning here.
Fine. Alrighty then. So yeah, that's... Well, we know is that you love this old man. You only like him because he kicked my ass. Nope. Can I... Nope. Nope, so I can't pick up you things. Okay, cool.
May Lord Lao elude all. Patience, as the heat has yet to suffice.
Okay.
Each pill is a means to an end.
Alrighty then. So... Zodiacs will end up there. You cannot confirm nor deny. Of course you can't. Alrighty. Okay, so Ruyi's Scarl is its own thing. So Little Begonia had that. Alright. Let's try the guy at the Turtle Island. Let's see how we do against him. Cultivation is a prolonged journey. Accumulate experience to increase your level, thereby igniting your innate spiritual spark and unlocking more abilities and spells. Neat. We'll give it a try. We'll see how we do. Let's see how we do. Let's see how the knight treats us. Alrighty. During amplification, and then we're gonna need to swap body warming for fortifying, and then the longevity for the shock. Fortifying, and the shock. Let's see how that goes. Oh, I didn't do enough heals earlier. I swear I had the thing that was going to increase my... that would have, like, healed me over time, but... Alright, moving on. We're gonna... Being struck by thunder attacks will cause the thunder gauge to build up. When the gauge is maxed out, you'll be in a shock state with weakened bones and numbed muscles, increasing the damage received. Consume shock appealing. Alright, cool. So maybe not consume the shock until, you know, we have to deal with the effect. Alright, so. The enduring, the amplification, and the fortification. There we go. One, two, three. There we go, do that. Potion. Drink. Drink. Ah, I used the wrong pill. I took a lot of stupid hits then. Alright. So. Oh wait, we can change the mask thingy-majiggy, because we're not using the third long prince. We can change from our mask to the other equipment, so... Yeah, so we can change from this, which only gives us 22. And we don't have the thingies for it. 2 for after using the gore mod, increasing every credit for using gore for reduces attack on the contrary. Increases damage, critical health. Here we go, the pilgrims. We can use the gourd while sprinting, and it gives us an increased amount of... It's a shame we can't increase these levels. It would be nice if we could. A gift that leads to a secluded and tranquil retreat. Tauntifying upon increases. Alrighty. Alright, here we go. Let's give this a try.
Glug, glub, glug, glub, glug.
Alright, fine. Drinkies, and then back into the fight we go. Alright. So that increases our critical chance. Increases the chill resistance and chilled state. While perfect dodging, recover a small amount of stamina. Slightly reduces cooldown. Moderately increases stamina recovery. Slightly increases will gain from defeating. Landing successful hits on the enemy. Land enough successful hits on the enemy to avoid the next fatal blow. Grant considerable when gore juice is depleted. Considerably increase. Awesome. Moderately increases... Recovery rate. We'll give this one a try. We'll see what it's like. We'll see what it's like. Alright, you. And you. going behind the rock, which I do not like. Why can't I use the potion? I kept trying to select the pellet, like, right after I drank the gourd. It's like, alright, now let's use the pellet. Doesn't happen. But I've got my combo down. I've got the idea that I want. Here we go. Here we go. Alright, let's go for you. And then we'll go for you. Alright, here we go. Three, 2, 1. Oh, I thought I backed away far enough with that one. Alright, here we go. Fierce moves and swift, they all consume your stamina. Once exhausted, it hinders your prowess, leaving you drained and weary. Be prudent in it to use. Wait, do I have my soaks wrong? Because I swear I've got the thing that's meant to, like, slowly, you know, recover my health. But if I don't have that correct... Nope, that's correct. Moderately increases the max damage reduction. Alright, I don't think I need to moderately increase my maximum health. I need to increase shock resistance. So then that way... not getting in trouble. Also, hang on. Make medicine. Stop going feral, Incineroar. Alright, so we can't do any more of the amplification spell. We can do some of that amplification spell. To 3 of them. The Ginseng Pearls. Chilled, poisoned, shocked. Tenacity. Moderate increases damage. Alright, let's go with that one. Alright, so. All actions cost no stamina. Grants focus for a short period of time. Let's go with this one. Let's get some focus in us. And then... next one, that's the poison resistance, that's the burn state. Where's the... there it is. Yes! Woo! Got back in perfect time. Thank you, Xerix. I was a little greedy, but it paid off. Alrighty. And there's another chest. Alrighty. We get ourselves some fine gold thread. Alright. A mine core. A mountain shaking claw. Breath of fire. Ooh, breath of fire. We'll have to see what that does. And another long pearl. You know, just in case. I think we've got like 5 of those at this point. Like, no, we've got like 4 of those, I think. 3 or 4 of those. Actually, no, we won't be able to get off the turtle by going there. We'll have to go to the thingy here. Where's the thingy? There's the thingy. Alright. Let's see. Hey, we can craft a new weapon, too. Ooh, it's the new one here. The Golden Longstaff. Moderately increases the damage dealt by all pillar stance moves. A long can be summoned to execute thunder at the enemy at pillar stance heavy attacks that cost 3 or 4 focus points. That sounds really cool, but I'm not using the pillar stance. I'm using the smash. Punishing downpour executes thunder damage. Cool. The fourth move. This one I still like this one. It doesn't do as much damage, but you know, I like my smash. All right, what does the soak do then? All right, so instead of moderate shock damage, using the gore significantly increases attack for the next unveiled strike in Cloud Step for a short period. Yeah, okay. I mean, I'll use that quite a few. Looks like coral. Hopefully I can use the unveiling thingy-madiggy in the... Alright, self-advance, reignite the spark. Alright. So that considerably increases. When hit, the decoy will generate a shockwave. Each increases the duration of thingy. Increases the movement speed. Increase critical hit chance stacked per second. Nice. Alright. And then this one is Unveiling Strike can be performed with a charged heavy attack. Alright. Oh wait, no, that's already awakened. Oh, I gotta get the other ones done. Okay, so I can increase that one by another thing. So yeah, increase that, so then that way increases our speed, then this one will increase the duration. Alright. Any new spirits to cultivate? No, not really. Alright. Back to the forest. I want to talk to that fox again. Someone has documented the various beings encountered by the Destined One, capturing their portrait, name, and intriguing anecdotes. Cool. Didn't know I had a, you know, an artist following me in my journey. Alright, can I talk to this fox? No. Yeah, like this one I just... Yeah, the current staff I have. It would be nice if the staff was, like, stronger if I could upgrade it, but, you know, I haven't yet... Ow, fuck you. Alright, absorb this. Ooh, celestial pear seed. Nice. That will be very useful. Monkey? Oh, no, demon. Alright, here we go. Oh, don't tell Jack I'm doing this. Don't mind me as I follow anywhere but, like, the main path. Exploring is half the journey. Wait, have I... Oh, I walked around in circles. Wait, did I walk around in circles? Yeah, I must have walked around in circles. Damn. Go. Fuck you, frog. Nice. More will for me. More Jade Lotus. Man, there's a lot to explore here. There's a lot to unpack here. Oh, hello, frog. I see you. Don't mind me as I'm in, like, the frigid cold, like, just walking through the water. Normally, they do not advise you do this in the winter. Cerveza Cristal! Alrighty. Jump. absorb that. Oh, I could have gotten more heals.
It's freezing here.
Oh, hey, it's you again.
I need fire.
Oh! I know exactly what you need. I know exactly what he needs. Let me change my spells really quickly. Because I betcha he wants that Ring of Fire. Alrighty. Meow.
It's freezing here. Fire. I need fire.
Come on. Should be safe.
I would be dead if it weren't for you.
Not to worry.
No more frost now.
He just sits in the fucking snow. Look, it would have been cooler if, like, maybe the snow melted within the Ring of Fire.
Planted watermelons here hundreds of years ago. One bite grants prolonged life. Yet, when the cold bites all around, without your powerful spells, there's no way I can find it. Someone once saw a chubby boy jump from the cliff with a watermelon in his arms.
Watermelon.
Edge of the cliff, but saw no movement down there. Seemed like certain death. But suddenly, he heard the boy laughing from beneath, on and on. Bewildered, he fled from the cliff. This story may offer a clue for my treasure hunt. Maybe the watermelons were planted under the cliff. Don't let me keep you, sir. I will leave by myself when I feel warm enough. This story may offer a clue for my... Maybe the... Don't let me... I will leave by...
So yeah, so he was like freezing cold. So then we did the Ring of Fire thing. And then he like dropped down into the Ring of Fire. But unfortunately, he's still sitting in the fucking snow. Alright, swapping back to the immobilization spell, because I have done way more upgrades to that one. Alright. Alright, hit that butt. Nice try. Alright. More H ginseng. There we go. Can absorb that. Nice. Yep, that thing's alive. And is a lot older than normal. a ginseng cape. Nice. Alright, let me just deal with all these guys. Millennium ginseng seeds. Cool, cool. Oh, I can get the Elder. A good old beatdown with 4 Jimmies. Yeah, I can get more of them, actually. There was this glitch that was around just before the patch that I'm currently playing on, where you could somehow, using the pillar stats... Ooh, a Jade Essence drink. Interesting. I bet you there's another creature here. Yeah, there is. Alright, next one. Come on, up you get. Oh, never mind, you're just aged. Come on. Awesome. Alright, so what's the cloak I got? For a short duration after the gourd, moderately increases maximum stamina. Doesn't give me too much defense, but it does give me a better resistance to chill, which I think is useful here. This one just makes it so that the Vengeful Mirage will inflict thunder damage. Massively reduces the duration of the shock state. Yeah. This one I want to do the chilled stuff with. But yeah. A little bit of level grinding, a little bit of exploration, a little bit of, you know, figure out how this game wants me to use the equipments and what have you, so we'll figure this out. Also, they talked about something about a watermelon under the cliffs, but yeah. And then there's that dude there with his ring of fire. So... Ooh, actually, let's... Yeah, a lot of exploring, which is kind of fun. Welcome home, by the by, Jack. I swear to you, I didn't kill any crows. I absolutely swear. Stop asking. Stop staring at me. Nope, I just went around in circles like a monkey. I am a foolish, foolish monkey. Stop squinting! Ah, okay, so we gotta go up here.
Did you see it?
What was I... Wait, you mean this cliff? No, he like jumped... I thought he was like jumped into the water or something. Alright, Nope, nothing unlocked with you. You were no help whatsoever. Well, you're an idiot. I'm just gonna open my chest, thank you very much. gold. Gelatin, awesome.
You need a loyal friend.
There we go. Let's keep moving. An issue occurred while running the game. Please try exiting and restarting. If the issue still persists, damn. Alright. I'm gonna take that as a little bit of a sign that, we do not continue on. I'll figure out another... oh, yikes. Oh, yikes indeed. I bet you it was a case of I ran out of CPU or what have you. Something weird like that. Because, yeah, I'm using like 70 to 80% of my CPU. And it's like lots and lots of little things are running in the background. A lot of OBS web pages, amazingly enough. I probably need to, like... oh, actually, no, those are all in zeros. For whatever reason, there's a lot of 0.1%. Corsair IQ. Yeah. I feel like... yeah, the Ultra Leap does like 20% or something like that. But yeah, there's all these things that's like, oh yeah, it's taking up 50%. And I feel like it's because there will be stuff in here that isn't... like, it's reporting 0% CPU usage, but I bet you it's actually using some percentage of CPU, and it doesn't want to tell me. It's like 0.1 or something, but because I have so many things running in the background, like the 0.1% or the 0.01% actually does end up being a percentage. So, but yeah, you can take a look at the gifted art and such. I am gonna call the stream here because I have work the next day. I need to get my sleeps and what have you. You know, I thought I was gonna see the workmaiden. I'm gonna be real with you. I thought I was gonna see the workmaiden here, but okay, so they were here apparently. I just never saw them or anything like that. Okay. Nice. They were here back at like 9:30 it seems. Very entertaining, they said. Awesome. Okay. It wasn't a total disaster. You just sent me a new doodle. Did you? Aw, thank you. I will have a... is it something I can look at out... well, I was gonna pop in your VC, but decided nah. Understandable. Like, we're getting close to the end of the night and such. Oh my god, Freckles, that is amazing. Freckles, do you mind if I share with chat? You know what? It's gonna go on the board. It's gonna go onto the board here. What you done for me and such. Sure? Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Alrighty then. So, open in browser, and then we save the thingy-majiggy. That is, oh my god. Because here's the thing. Like, Freckles is an amazing... shout out to Freckles, by the by. Hang on a second. Shout out to that Freckles. They are an amazing furry artist. I highly recommend them. And then they've been doing a lot of, like, sort of raffles and some, you know, wing it sort of stuff. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. I've gotten, like, 2 or 3 pieces from them in the past. And also they've done, like, these fun little gifted things that I really, really appreciate. Thank you so much, Freckles. So, some of the stuff is, you know, a little bit spicy, a little bit not safe for work. But this one here, I think, is absolutely fantastic because it comes into play to what... Because I was talking about this earlier, the fact of like, oh yeah, there was going to be someone who was going to be from work or something seeing this, and I was like, be on your best behavior, chat. Do not be extra horny and such. And so, like, I don't know if you knew this, Freckles, that earlier, but look at it! Look at it! It's just like trying to take my shirt, and I'm just like, no! It's, oh my god, that's fantastic. I love it. Oh, it's... Claps for Freckles. Thank you so much, Freckles. I greatly appreciate it. I'm gonna get this on the board. I will be streaming again Friday night. Friday night is gonna be a little more casual of a stream. We're gonna be playing Final Fantasy XIV, but we're not gonna go through any spoiler stuff in Final Fantasy XIV. It's instead gonna be more of a casual, like, free-for-all, where I'm gonna be, you know, trying to improve the levels of any of my classes, or maybe catching up on any of my dailies, or even the some of the raids that I didn't do during Endwalker that I have available that I need to, like, progress through and such. So yeah, thank you so much, Freckles. I greatly appreciate the gifted art. It looks absolutely fantastic. I am most certainly gonna put that on the board. I hope you have a wonderful morning. Thank you, thank you. Now, let's have a look and see who is online and who we can go and raid. We've got a number of people playing Black Myth Wukong who I haven't seen before. But I'm pretty sure... Ooh! Oh wait, how long is this user gonna be... Hang on a second. There's a... How long is this user gonna be on there for? Because they've been streaming for the last 8 hours. Ooh. No, actually no. They've been streaming for 8 hours. We do not know if they're gonna be streaming any longer. Let's go for someone else. Let's see. Oh my goodness! Code the Yoshi is going through Endwalker! Okay, we gotta go and raid into Code the Yoshi, alright? It's so great to see them back in Final Fantasy XIV. So we're gonna go raid into them. You gotta go raid into Code. What is the... So he says, time to punch and kick my way through more Endwalker. Okay, so he might be a monk. Monk this. Monkey punch. That is gonna be our raid message. Monk this. Monkey punch. So, I know there's an emote that pops up, but that's because the monk emote is because of 7TV. Thank you so much for the great stream then, and have an amazing rest, and good luck at work tomorrow. I'll see you around, hopefully. Sorry I'm not here as much anymore. That's okay, Sage. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being on your best behaviors, and here's this stream. I know I had to, like, turn off some of the redeems, but I was a little bit worried, alright, about, like, you know, what they would see and what have you, but I'm glad to see that they're not, you know, they're not cringing. A bit of your stream before, very entertaining. So yeah, they did say it was very entertaining, so... Yay! I didn't, you know, like, absolutely ruin a friendship. But yeah, thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. We'll go right into Code the Yoshi shortly. Remember our raid message, monk this, monkey punch. And I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.